And cut that Pokemon music. Yes, welcome back again. Here we are with episode 7 of The Beach Gamer, and this week I'm going to be talking about my top 10 favourite PlayStation 1 games. So, what can we say? Sony PlayStation 1 was one of the greatest consoles in my opinion, and yeah, some of the games that came out on it were absolutely amazing. You had the Grand Theft Autos of the world, the Silent Hills, you had the Spyro the Dragons, the Crash Bandicoots. You had something for everyone, really. I mean, there's a general consensus that say the PlayStation 1 was aimed a lot towards kids. But I think there was a lot of good games for adults as well. Good few horrors as well. And yeah, also Dino Crisis was another classic. So yeah, a lot of good games. And yeah, we're going to go straight into that number 11 bonus pick of my top 10 favourite PS1s. Okay, and welcome to my number 11 bonus pick. And this is the game Abe's Odyssey. Oddworld. I'll show you this there. And this is actually a puzzle platformer. I think it's a really good game. It definitely tests your brains and your patience. Yeah, one interesting fact about it was actually this was made by the American company GT Interactive, and this was actually the first PlayStation 1 game that was actually taken out of America and actually tested in Britain. I mean, usually they used to send, GT used to send their games to Britain just to get European tested, basically, and for language options, etc. But this was actually fully tested in the UK. Which was unlike US companies on this matter. So, yeah, I think that's a good sign for the Brits. And yeah, I mean, what can I say about this game? Yeah, definitely worth buying. I think lots of different puzzles, lots of challenges. You do need a lot of patience, I do say, but yeah, definitely worth playing. So yeah, that's my number 11 bonus pick, and that's Oddworld Abe's Odyssey. Right, we'll go straight into our top 10, and hope you enjoy the rest of the video. Okay, here we go, and straight into our number 10. It's hours and hours of wrecking and smashing car fun. It's Destruction Derby. And into 9, well, what can you already say about this amazing franchise? And this is an interesting game. This is actually Grand Theft Auto London 1969. Here we go for number 8. It's on the Hulk compilation, and it's actually one of the funniest games I've ever played. Broken Sword is the name of the game. And in at number 7, from hilarious to horror, it's the classic Silent Hill. And in at number 6, one of the best driving games of all time, and that's the original Gran Turismo. And here we are, number 5, our halfway point bonus game viewing, and we got some Final Fantasy VIII for you. Okay, and now we're back with the hard hitters, and in at number 4, it's a huge game, Metal Gear Solid. Straight into number 3, and I think arguably one of the best horror games on the PlayStation 1, and that's Resident Evil 2. And my number 2 for best top 10 PlayStation 1 games is going to be Final Fantasy IX. So here we are with our number 1 game, and wow, what a game. What can you say about this game? You know, there's so much that's been said about this game. It's arguably one of the best games of all time. Arguably, it's probably got one of the best soundtracks, if not the best soundtrack of all time. Graphics weren't great on it. Arguably one of the best villains of all time. and you could just fall in love with the characters. They were just so, you know, it was just such a heartwarming kind of tale. And you can probably guess this kind of game from a couple of my options in my top 10. Yeah, I mean, arguably as well, one of the best storylines of all time. What more can I say about this game? And it is, of course, a fantastic Final Fantasy VII. So, yeah, I mean, hours and hours were put into making this game, and actually years and years, I believe. And this really lit up the Sony PlayStation 1 and made it to be, you know, really looked upon as one of the greatest consoles of all time. And, you know, it was just one of those moments, I think, where people started playing this game and it was like, we've never seen anything like this before. You had things like the Golden Saucer, where you think, okay, there's a giant adventure theme park in the middle of the game. You have the Honeybee Inn, where you have the main character, Cloud, dressing up as a woman to get into a brothel. I mean, and then you've got two guys, like, who are just full of emotion and passion, just blurting out cancelled out swear words, and you're so into it because they're just so passionate about the game. And then you've got other characters like Tifa and Aerith who you could just fall in love with, and it becomes a bit of a love triangle of the story. And in the middle of all that, you've got all that kind of fighting, typical RPG style fighting, but it's different in a weird way. It's just really intriguing. It's hard to explain, but everything from the music just gets you straight away. I mean, and of course, even the classic opening bits are just remembered. And yeah, it's so popular. If you've never played this game, and I understand, you know, some gamers obviously aren't a big fan of it, but yeah, I'm just huge on it. It's just, a lot of people say this is probably the best game of all time. I could see why. You can't really argue with it. But you know, it's so much fun. You can see why they did a recent remake on the PS4, and that was huge. But yeah, if you love, you know, great storytelling, great music, great gameplay, and you're not too put off too much by the polygon-ish graphics, then I highly recommend Final Fantasy VII. One of the most intriguing games of all time, for sure. And that is my number one, and we'll see you again next time on another episode of The Beach Gamer. Stay tuned. Cheers.